All right, well, it looks like we got a pretty good crew. So in the interest of leaving a lot of time for Q&A, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's get started. So thank you all for joining us again for another MassMEDIC webinar. I'm Rachel Robinson, Vice President of MassMEDIC, and it's really nice to see all of you again. I know it's a really busy time of year, obviously, for everyone. Did want to keep a couple things on your radar. The Biomed Device Conference is next week in Boston. If you are local, it is a live program. We would absolutely love to see you there at our startup stadium. So that's taking place on the 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you have questions, feel free to shoot me a note at rachel@massmedic.com. I'll also put a little info in the chat for you guys to take a look at while the webinar is going on. But other than that, I am going to start by saying thank you to Jesseca Lyons from Greenlight Guru for putting together what I know is going to be a really interesting program on risk management. If you do have questions, they are definitely encouraged. There is a Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to pop questions in throughout the presentation, and then Jesseca and I will look at those at the end and try to get through as many as possible. But with that, I'm going to turn things over to Jesseca.
Thanks, Rachel. So I'm Jesseca Lyons. I'm an operations and enablement guru here at Greenlight Guru. I'm a mechanical engineer, and my day-to-day job is to basically help a lot of medical device companies with getting their devices to market faster with less risk. I do a lot of training and education on design controls, risk management, the entire product development process. So I'm really excited today to get a chance to come in and talk risk management with you guys. In terms of today, we are going to go through and talk about the data. So we did a risk management research report to collect data from the industry on how they view risk management activities, different ways that they feel about it, how it impacts their job, going through and talking about some of the common risk management mistakes. And then we're going to go in and talk a little bit about how to design your risk management process and how to fix a couple of common problems that we see in terms of startups and scale ups. But to be honest, I think at some point in time, everybody has some improvements that they could make to the risk management process. As Rachel said, please feel free to ask questions. There is that Q&A section there. We will make sure that we get these addressed. So let's dig into the findings. So we surveyed medical device professionals to really understand how they currently manage risk, what poor risk management costs their business, and how maybe they overcome some of these risk hurdles. There is a link to be able to download that full report. So that is something that you may want to take a look at. About 69–70% of them were responsible for quality and regulatory, 45% of which are at the managerial level. So this is really going to give you some good insights into where the management level, their thoughts on how risk management activities are done. And I did find this interesting as far as a majority of our respondents were with our QARA departments. Specifically, this is something that we're going to talk a little bit more about why risk management should not be the responsibility of just one department. So hopefully the next time that we go through and do a risk management survey, we get other departments in here responding as maybe they take on some of the risk management activities themselves as well. So this is how people currently manage risk for their device and outcomes they see from their current risk management process. Now, one of the most surprising things that we saw was that 42% of people say that they worry about issues related to product risk outside of their workday. 42% are worried about product risk outside of their workday. That is a lot of people who are sitting here thinking about risk management activities for their product risk. And I get it, we're developing medical devices. That's a lot that we are thinking about in terms of how this might impact patients, the safety there. And out of this, those 29% of respondents also say that this worry impacts their quality of life. And we did see that these numbers are actually worse in companies where our respondents feel that they have a poor risk management practice. So if you have a solid risk management approach, if you are having a very comprehensive risk management approach, this is something that actually will help you in your personal life, helping reduce the worry that you have around product risk outside of work. And part of this problem is likely related to about 40% are saying that data silos are a problem. So if we stop and we think about this, we got 40% of our respondents saying, hey, data is siloed. We've got 42% saying they're really worried about product risk outside of their day-to-day life, and it's impacting the quality of their own life, worrying about this. So if your risk management practices at your company, if they are a struggle, if they're subpar, if this is something where you feel like maybe you guys could do better at risk management, this isn't something that is just relating to product risk. So obviously we want to make improvements so that our products are safe, that they are going to be effective for the people who are using them. But you also have some company issues. You might have low morale, poor productivity. You might end up having, college, you might have some churn in here. And part of this is because if you have a poor risk management process, people are spending a lot of time worrying about risk outside of their job. Now, we want to make sure that risk management is done well, but why? Well, 20% of the respondents have had product development halted due to risk management activities, and 27% have had issues with submissions being delayed due to inadequate risk management activities, with an average delay of 5 months. Now, if we're trying to bring our products to market quickly, having a delay of 5 months due to poor risk management activities, that's not helping us out. And especially if some of these risk management activities, maybe we could have avoided these delays if we had a better process from the beginning. So not only is it impacting us on a personal level, it's impacting us on a timeline perspective for our projects, for getting these products out the door. So it has a business risk associated with it. So we want to make sure that we are going to be able to work on resolving any of these issues, any of these delays, by trying to improve our risk management process. Because 5 months due to an incomplete risk management file is a long time to be delayed. In a particular study that we've done, we actually were able to estimate in terms of that monthly burn rate. So if you are a VC-backed startup, this delay could cost you around $400,000. Now, okay, that's getting into your own burn rate. Yeah, you might want to take a look and see, how that is going to impact what you guys are doing. But if you aren't ready to actually make your submission, getting delayed 5 months could have a larger impact than just your monthly burn rate. This could cause you issues in terms of fundraising as well, not being able to get that product to market. So something that could have quite a big impact for you from a business perspective too. So what's leading to issues where we've got a majority of respondents who are, 47% of respondents saying, hey, this is impacting my personal life. We're seeing a 5-month delay in bringing products to market. How do we fix it? What are the common mistakes that we are seeing? One, if we go back, we saw that 40% of our respondents say that data is siloed and that this is a major issue. Now, knowing how some of these companies work, you get one department that is basically owning what's happening, And so at that point, we don't necessarily have a lot of cross collaboration. You get one department that is going through and is doing all of the work and effort. And then maybe somebody else doesn't really see what's happening in it until the very end. So in a lot of companies, product development, they are coming in and they're owning it all until design transfer. They toss it over to the fence to manufacturing. Manufacturing then gets to deal with however kind of a mess there is for being able to make this product. And depending on the organization, risk management, you only thought about it from a design and development perspective. You didn't think about how could production or post-production risks feed back into this. So maybe there were design choices that you could have made to actually help from a risk management perspective if you had involved manufacturing earlier, and trying to go back in and figure out exactly, hey, why did you guys make this choice here? It would have been better if we did that here. You end up losing some of the context if you're just putting it into a nice pretty package and then tossing it over the fence to manufacturing. So when risk management is performed across multiple teams, across multiple groups, it's something where we get quality, product development, we get our manufacturing operations. You're even talking, maybe having some of the supply chain conversations in here about how does distribution impact the product. All of those conversations can actually help you do a more comprehensive approach to risk management. So if you just have one team owning risk at a time, you end up losing time and product improvements can be slowed down. So by siloing all of your data and information, this is something that leads to a lot of issues. And remember, 40% say that data silos are a major issue right now. It's also done a little too late. Now, I may not be the only one who thinks this, but I think a lot of people view risk management as something that you do after you figure out what you're making. So, hey, we're going to do some prototyping, we're going to figure out what we're doing, and from there we're going to go through and start to do risk, right? Like how do you do risk management if you don't know what you are going to develop? Until you know what it looks like, how do you start to do risk? Well, if you are used to doing an FMEA, at that point, you might have to have a prototype in order to start going through and figuring out what's going to fail, because it's a little bit difficult to say, well, this part failed leading to this. Oh, what could have caused that to fail if you don't know what it looks like? Now, ISO 14971, it says that FMEA is a tool, but it is not the only tool for doing risk management activities. And if you are starting your risk management activities at the very beginning, before you've ever done any prototyping, you may actually find that you do a better job in design and development. So risk management and design controls, they go hand in hand. When you start identifying user needs and design inputs, at that point in time is a perfect time to start thinking about risk. So as you start going through and figuring out what does the user actually need, that's going to lead you to start being able to say, oh, hey, I got a device that, we're going to need to have some electricity with it. It's going to be, whether it's battery powered or it plugs into a wall, it doesn't matter. I need electricity in order to be able to make the device work. Ooh, electricity. There's a lot of risk that can go in with electricity. So I better start thinking about some of these risk management activities now that I've identified that I've got power with my device. So even something super high level, before you have figured out the details, you can start thinking about risk management activities. It's not too early when you are sitting here putting together your project plan and some user needs to start thinking risk. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it nailed down exactly right. to start thinking about risk management activities. One of the challenges that we see is that when you guys go through and you start thinking about risk management after you've already got your prototypes, you may have actually been making design choices to mitigate risk and not fully capturing and getting credit for that. So maybe you chose certain materials in order to improve biocompatibility. Maybe you're going to put in some guards in place or reduce the amount of power that the device uses in order to reduce issues from electrical shock. Well, you made design choices based off of risk management activities, but if you don't document it, it didn't happen. So you're not going to get credit for the fact that you've done risk mitigation activities. So go through and start thinking about risk early so that as you're thinking about your design, as you're going through and you are doing your design and development activities, you can get credit for some of the choices that you are making. It will also help you when you are going through and doing your residual risk evaluation. If you have thought about risk early, it makes it a lot easier to understand maybe kind of the pros and cons of a solution that you are putting in place. So, putting a different voltage level or, the power requirements for your product. What are the pros and cons to that? Are there any other risks that you should be thinking about? So if you are going through and being very systematic with your approach here, thinking about risk as you're doing your design and development activities, it will help you from a residual risk standpoint as well. Now, we saw that a lot of people had issues in terms of, siloing from 40% with data silos, but it's even worse than we thought. So the third big risk management mistake that we saw is that a lot of people are going through and they are doing this by themselves. We're not even talking that we've siloed it from a team perspective. We're talking about one individual. So we had some people who said, hey, it's coming up. I'm going to put myself in a room and just knock it all out. One person sitting here trying to build it all alone is not going to be the most efficient way of going through and doing your risk management activities. It's not going to be the most effective way or comprehensive way of going through and doing it because there is only so many things that one person can think of. So many different, ways, foreseeable events that could lead to situations that one person can think of. So by having a bunch of different people involved in building the risk matrix, you're going to have a more comprehensive approach to risk. Now you're going to be thinking of a lot of different foreseeable events. Engineers are fantastic at thinking of ways that this product could be used to kill someone, but everybody's approach is going to be very different. And what you think of is going to be very, very different than what I think of based off of experiences that I've had with other products or what you've had, maybe ways that you use products in your daily life incorrectly. So, I think of a screwdriver. Most of us have used a flathead screwdriver to open up a can of paint, pry it open as a pry bar. Probably not something that those screwdriver manufacturers originally intended us to use that for. And then I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to use the handle as a hammer and put the paint can lid back on that way. And I know that everybody who takes and uses a flathead screwdriver is probably going to use it in ways that the manufacturer didn't originally design it for. I know I'm always going to use a screwdriver to open a can of paint because I've always got a screwdriver handy, but what if you don't think of screwdrivers that way? You're not going to think of those foreseeable events that I do, and you may not make some of those risk management choices, such as picking a different material for the handle that is a little bit more shatter resistant. So if you have a team involved in building your risk, you're going to have a better one. So we think, hey, you know what? I'm going to be able to get it done quicker. I'm going to be able to get it done super fast if I'm just doing it by myself. But remember, you want it to be comprehensive. So 69% of first time 510K submissions are rejected. One of the reasons that they get rejected is risk management. So we can start to work on bringing your device to market faster, reducing your risk of getting rejected in your 510K submission if you're not the only one sitting at your desk all by yourself trying to do risk management activities. Okay, it's a pretty grim way of thinking about risk if we think that it's impacting personal lives, everything is siloed, everybody's getting their 510K submission rejected. How do we actually make it better? How do we have maybe a positive outlook on risk management activities? Well, one, we're going to design a better risk management process, and we're going to think about who should be there. So, who should be involved in putting together our risk management process? Well, we want to make sure that we have people who are able to represent the end user or patients. We want to make sure that those people understand what the procedure is going to be, how somebody's going to be using this device. We want to make sure that we have quality, regulatory, manufacturing, product development. We want to have a wide variety of people in here, including sales, marketing. What kind of feedback are we getting from customers as we're going through, even from the sales and marketing perspective? Executive management, top management. We got a lot of people who are going to be in here, but you might be thinking this is literally your entire company. I mean, depending on how big your company is, you're saying, I literally have to get my entire company sitting here thinking about risk management? Yeah, yeah, I know. You're also sitting here saying, why is manufacturing on this list? I don't even have a product. Why is manufacturing here? Well, this is something where, again, we're not trying to say that you have to have a whole bunch of people in this room because the more people you have in the room, clearly the better you're going to be. So by having the right people in the room, the better your risk management process is going to be. Manufacturing is going to be having a very unique approach to risk management because they're going to be thinking about the risks associated with actually building the product. They know more than anyone from the product development team typically on what are the ways that actually assembling and manufacturing could cause some of these hazardous situations to appear. When we're thinking about our end user, patient, maybe somebody from your quality team is able to help with representing this. Maybe you're able to have somebody who's done a lot of research on predicate devices. They've gone through and searched perhaps the MAUDE database. So they're able to really truly understand maybe that end user, the patient. Maybe they've been working on products for those patients for years, and they're able to go through and appropriately understand what the procedures are. But if you think about it, we all have a different approach to risk. We all have different things that we're going to be focusing on. So whether that is the use of the device from the end user perspective and risks that could go wrong there, maybe from the design of it from our product development and our quality team to the end, our process and manufacturing. Again, understanding all of those different pieces of risk leads to a lot more of a comprehensive risk management process. And make sure as you are coming in and you are working on your design and development activities that you understand these things early. So get feedback, end users, patient representatives, and understand as you are talking to maybe physicians, clinicians, what are the risks? What are the harms that could occur in doing this particular procedure? Not necessarily with your device, but in the procedure in general. The more that you understand about that procedure and what are the different risks that they're seeing, the different harms, how likely are these things to occur, maybe what are the severities of these, having a really good understanding of that can really help shape your risk management approach. So, talking to people about harms and severities early are always a good idea as you're starting to capture those user needs and design inputs. Then get everybody together, review it. Now you're saying, hey, we don't all sit together anymore. That's okay. You guys can go through and share conversations, share this data, have a virtual meeting and talk. But get input, get feedback, understand how somebody is reading this information, how they're interpreting it. And then if you want to at that point, go back, sit at your desks, work on putting together information, maybe having everybody go through and say, for this particular situation, what are the different foreseeable events that could lead to it? So what are some different situations that maybe we're able to identify? Have people say, well, in my experience, these are the probabilities that we are used to seeing. So once you've gathered the committee, once you've gone through and analyzed the data, taken a look at all the information that you guys have, at that point, you can go back and you can work on risk management activities separately, have people take a look, provide some feedback and insights into this, being able to share that as you build it out together. There's nothing wrong with having smaller review meetings where maybe you haven't gotten everything set as you go through your risk management process. Now we are all set. So we've gone through and we've got everything ready. And yay, it is time for submissions time. Review risk one more time. Make sure that somebody from an executive member of your team actually truly understands what you guys have done. Remember, top management, executive management, they are responsible at the end of the day for all of the risk acceptability that you've done. So talk to them about, hey, here's where we landed as far as the acceptability of all of these risks. Here's where we're at in terms of our overall benefit risk analysis. Here's what we were able to mitigate without negatively impacting that benefit risk ratio. So as you guys are going through this, make sure that you bring executive management in to review all of this one last time. And then fortunately, you talked to manufacturing earlier, so handing it off should be relatively easy because they're not surprised, but make sure that they know where all of the documentation is. Make sure that they know how to come in and feed back into the system anything that happens from the manufacturing process as they are going through and maybe making some tweaks or adjustments into the manufacturing process. There may be some new risks to consider. So certainly something where we want to make sure that they know how to come in and update. So how do we have a better risk management process? Well, first and foremost, this is where I'm going to shamelessly plug that at some point in time, you guys should have more conformity in terms of having a single source of truth. Having things that are in 5 million different places doesn't help anyone. So making sure that you have all of your documentation in a single source of truth can really truly make this whole process easier. Everybody knows where to go. In terms of this, you may also want to invest in some technology. So having things where it is an electronic quality management system for all of your design controls and risk management activities, storing all of your documentation within the quality management system can make it even easier. And one of the great things about this is that by having everything in terms of an electronic quality management system, it does allow you to have remote teams where you're all still able to be on the same page and work together. So with Greenlight Guru specifically, you can invest in the right technology that was specifically designed for the needs of medical device companies. So we will help you with design controls, risk management activities, helping for document management, for storing, managing, maintaining, and keeping track of all of these risk documents, and being able to truly collaborate together across all different departments as you work on risk management activities so that everyone from start to finish knows what's going on and they're able to work together to make a better device. At that point, you've taken away some of those data silos. So we're helping reduce the silos. We are helping you keep track and having a better holistic product. So hopefully you're thinking about all of these issues less in your personal life and not being so stressed about product quality. If you'd like to gain some in terms of some experience with Greenlight Guru, best-in-class organizations, technology is not a solution to everything, but it can be a partner in this journey for process improvements and efficiencies, quality management. If you guys would like to have a demo of Greenlight Guru, please reach out. We are happy to go through. But it's more than just the software. As I mentioned, we want to truly be a partner and help you guys invest in you and your team. So this is one of the things that I am the most excited about. We have a risk management certificate for medical device professionals, the Greenlight Guru Academy. The Greenlight Guru Academy is a fantastic place to go for training and education. There's on-demand lessons that are going to allow you to move at your own pace with industry best practices and training from experts. And you have the ability to do free as well as paid certification courses. So you can truly get a certificate for the Introduction to Risk Management for Medical Devices and ISO 14971. We are partnered with an industry veteran, Peter Sebelius, for this training. And if you sign up for this certification by the end of the week, there is access to a VIP bundle of risk management content. So there's 15 pieces of content from webinars, online courses to help you improve your risk management process. Peter has also agreed to host a live Q&A session for any learners who sign up for this by the end of the week. This is truly a fantastic course. We've had several here at Greenlight Guru who have taken this course. Can't speak highly enough of the training that Peter Sebelius and his team puts on. So I would highly encourage you to go take a look at the Greenlight Guru Academy for some of these training options. So with that, I'd like to open up to any questions that you guys may have.
Thanks, Jessica. While people are kind of posting those questions in, everyone feel free to use the Q&A option at the bottom. I guess my question would be, what do you think is the question you get asked the most?
Oh, the question that I get asked the most, in terms of risk management, the question that everybody wants to ask, but sometimes hesitates to ask is, my device can kill somebody. Do I really have to put that down as a harm? I mean, as bad as it sounds, like none of us really want to admit that our device could actually be dangerous. So people are always hesitant. They're like, I've already mitigated it. It's okay. It's not going to possibly kill you. I promise I fixed it. But we're all afraid to put that down. And this is something where it's okay to put it down. It's okay to show that you did indeed do risk management activities. You did indeed put in control measures to help make your product safer. It's okay to show that your device could have been dangerous, but you thought about that and you did something about it.
What's, one of the things that you think people see the most issue with, right? What causes the most kind of kappas, you think?
The most issues that I see people saying is that they have issues when they get into the post-market side and tying it back into their risk management activities. So being able to go back and update risk based off of some of the complaints that they're seeing, or maybe there's non-conformance in the manufacturing process. Trying to go back and update risk is a very challenging activity. Depending on how your risk process is set up, you might have, if you're using FMEAs, you might have one for a use or an application FMEA, you might have one for design, you might have one for process. Which one of those do you update? Do you update all of them? Where's the actual updated version? Because we're all in, remote locations now. So where do we store it? Who's got it? When was the last one approved? I can't tell you how many times I had a big physical binder of all of these, and I had like 47 versions of risk management files. I was trying to find like which one was the current, and we didn't actually have an electronic version of the current one. So we couldn't go back and update it without retyping everything. So we had to make a choice on, do we go back and spend the time to literally retype everything from this document? Or do we take the one that we had and hope that it's good enough to make our updates to? Now, fortunately, the team that I worked on, we did the right thing. We took all of those and we went back and we typed them all in. So we had current versions, but a lot of companies, they are not able to invest that time. And so then they're dealing with trying to update out of date documents. So again, that electronic quality management system can really help.
And then I guess my last question is, how early, in the product development process are you really supposed to get started with this type of stuff?
Now, most people don't like my answer. It's literally never too early. And the reason I say that is because there is so much benefit to just starting to think high level about risk management as you start to say, I'm going to build a device. So when you say, I'm ready to make my medical device, you have a general idea of what you want to do. I want to build a device that helps patients who have congestive heart failure. Okay. I want to make sure that my device is going to maybe stimulate the heart to help if we've got arrhythmias. Great. You have a general idea of what you want it to do, and you can start thinking about the risks associated with that. It's never too early to start going through when you start to think about your product and searching the databases for all of the risks that have been reported, all of the harms that have been reported from other devices that do something similar. It is so easy to go and search for information on other devices that are going to be doing similar things to yours and saying, what are their most common harms that they see reported? What are their challenges? What are the issues? And then see if you can design your device better. Design it to be safer.
Where can you find something like that?
Well, the FDA has their MAUDE database, MAUDE, and you can search for that. You can search, in terms of like clinical evaluation reports. You can go through and you can search for any of the journals, scholarly. The internet has a fantastic outpouring of everything that went wrong at this point in time. So pick your favorite search engine and start to search for products. But what you're going to see is that there are a lot of reports that have to be done in the medical device industry on issues. And so you're able to really, truly see for similar devices, what types of complaints, what types of problems are out there.
That sounds great. I actually had no idea that existed, and I've worked in the space for a while. But thankfully, I'm not an engineer, so I shouldn't need to know that. But hopefully, everybody else does now. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, I'm going to make one last call. and say thank you to Jesseca for putting on this obviously wonderful presentation. It was really helpful and beneficial. If you do have questions, obviously there's Jessica's information on the screen. You can reach out to her directly, or you can always reach out and ask us. But thank you, Jesseca, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Rachel.